refocus our energies on staying on message. And the message is, this is not my president. This is not my America. I will not allow white supremacists to stage a coup and take over our country. I will not allow Muslim Americans to be forced to register. I will not allow for people who are here legally to be deported. And I will not allow for women to be sexually harassed on the street every day. I'm just not having it. I'm someone who's lived with cyber harassment for the last 2 months. I'm fed up. I'm not hiding anymore. You want to send me your shitty messages? That's great. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to send it to Melania. I'm going to block you, and you're not changing my life. So
can you give me some examples? What type of hate speech are you experiencing?
Well, I mean, I think that you're familiar, maybe your listeners aren't, stemming from an incident I had 2 months ago when I flipped off a Trump supporter standing in his driveway. I've had 2 months of every horrible thing that you can say to a woman, and not just that, but the cyber harassment that goes along with getting doxxed. So my personal information put online, my children's faces, my son's faces used, you know, in memes for incest and Nazism and rape and anti-Semitism and things sent to my home and things like that. So, and even my harasser, the person who chased me with his car, the guy I flipped off, had the audacity to take me to court under false pretenses saying I was harassing him. I was bothering him. And excuse me, I gave you the finger. I took a picture of your Hillary for prison sign. Both of those things are protected under the First Amendment. You chasing me with your car, not so much. And so he took me to court, and the charges were dismissed because he had no evidence because they were bullshit. And then, of course, he goes online and tells people he got his revenge on me. And it's like, the charges were dismissed, and you're stuck with your own lawyer's fees. How is that revenge on me? Oh, it isn't, because it's that projection language that they all use. So when they call us bigoted, and when they call us racist, and when they call us homophobic, it's them talking about themselves. When the Chode was talking about the rigged election, he was talking about it rigged for him. It was all in his favor. So when we see anything from him, anything that is generated from him, no, it is a lie. It is a smokescreen. It will never be the truth. It will always be some kind of posturing to make himself look better. We need to see through it. Now that I understand the mentality of how they tweet and how they use the social media to get at you, it doesn't bother me. It slides right off. When they accuse me of something, they're really speaking of themselves. When they attack my candidate, it's their own weakness. And we can hit them back with facts. And you and I both know facts are anathema to them. They don't even know what anathema means. Facts don't matter to them. We've seen this again and again. When fake Facebook articles convinced people to not vote for Hillary because it said that she was killing people. I mean, it's ridiculous what people will believe if it's on the internet. And the Chode himself has said, oh, I don't know anything about that. I just read it on the internet. So if you are of the mind.
There the other day. Yeah, Zuckerberg said that was ridiculous to say that any of the news articles on Facebook could have influenced the election. But then as it comes out more and more that 8 million people, reposted and reblogged the fake news articles on Facebook, which was more than the legitimate articles. It's like, wait, that means that they're disseminating that information. They believe it. No, it's, oh my God, I have to tell my friend Susie, and I have to let Tara know, and I have to let him know. So right,
exactly. And then and if you look at the recent news cycle, Trump tweets that he saved the Ford factory from going to Mexico. They were never going to go. So, but the messaging that is put out is he says something, his rabid fan base accepts it as fact. The mainstream media reports this. Then you go back and there's someone saying, wait, that's not true. And then the mainstream media has to go back and say, actually, this is the story, but it's too late because his idiotic fan base is perpetuating it as fact. So we're done. That story's done because we can't change their minds. They're not going to believe the fact. They don't seem to understand that Planned Parenthood only does abortions 1% that's 1% of their funding. They want to get outraged over what they want to get outraged about. And we have to let them. It's like the crazy cabbie that drives you to the airport. You're stuck with him for a very short amount of time. Let him go. You're not changing his mind. He's a lunatic. You need to stay based
Right.
in the fact and in the reality, and that's what we need to continue to fight. So my advice to anybody who might get involved with any sort of online altercation with these white supremacists, and we have to also stop saying alt-right. We have to call them what they are. They are white supremacists. They are Nazis. There's no nice way to tie it up in a pretty red bow. Don't call them something that makes them sound like they're a hipster band. They're not the alt-right. They're white supremacists. They're Nazis. They hate blacks and Jews and all minorities, and they want America to be all white Christians. That's what we're up against. Know this. Accept this as the fact and the reality so that when you are fighting it, understand where it comes from, understand how to best fight it is with fact, and try to keep your personal emotion out of it. Like if they attack you, you don't say, but I'm a single mom. That's what they're attacking. Instead you say, oh, well, my candidate won the popular vote by 2 million. You fight them back with facts, and then they lose interest. You take the wind out of their sails. You don't feed them, you starve them. Don't give them what they want, deprive them of what they want. That's all you do. So think of them as a weed that has popped up in your lawn, and you're going to get rid of it. That's what we have to do.
Yes. Well, I want to ask you about these appointments. I want to ask you about this cabinet building that Trump's going on. So before we get to the three most controversial names, which you've already dropped, Rachel Maddow. Come on, tell me you love Rachel Maddow. So she always starts her segment. Yes, right?
I love her. I love her so much that I wish I could be a lesbian. That's how much I love her. But I can't help it, baby. I was born a straight ally. So at least you have that. I will say this in all honesty. I have not, since November 8th, I have not been able to watch the news at all.
Oh,
I can't hear anybody speaking his name or showing his actions. I'm reading. I'm keeping up. And so I'm reading things, and I'm absolutely staying as, caught up as I possibly can. But to have it in front of me being fed to me, knowing that it's being fed to all of these other people. Like, I haven't watched CNN even before the election because they might as well have said we want Donald Trump to be president. So anything Rachel Maddow says, I'm gonna support.
Here's the headline. Here's the headline. So she started out by showing clips about people talking about the chode. We'll go with that. So she had clips from Mitt Romney earlier in the year. So Romney is basically being interviewed talking about this fundamental divide, between the chode, misogyny and the xenophobia and everything that he was propelling during the election and all this hate speech versus Republican ideology. And Mitt Romney is basically talking about how incensed he is about the whole thing. And then Maddow contrasts it with, and Mitt Romney will be meeting with the chode for a private meeting tomorrow. And it just basically shows this hilarious, I don't want to say it's a coming to Jesus moment because we don't know what's going to happen with the meeting. And then she shows Ted Cruz, and we know how much Ted Cruz opposed the chode during those primary races. And then all of a sudden you have Cruz on Fox News, we had such a productive meeting today, and things were very positive. So I just want to get your reaction to these Republican flip-floppers, specifically Cruz and Romney. What do you think is going on there? Do you think that they're going to put their differences aside, or do you think that the chode is so powerful that he's basically calling his base in, you will now do my bidding? What's going on?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I still do not see the chode as someone who has power. I would say he is someone who is being owned by someone who has power, and that person is named Vladimir Putin. I would say that when it comes I fully believe it. I fully believe he is owned by Vladimir Putin, and that is why we're where we are. So I will hope, quick sidebar, that Loretta Lynch does her job and investigates this, and the NSA has all of these people calling for an investigation. Something will actually happen. Okay, so Ted Cruz is weak and will follow the party line because Ted Cruz is somehow still under the delusion that he has a political career. So he thinks he's going to get to run in 2020. He wants to appear like he's the team player, that he's going to take one for the team, and he's going to go along with it so that when 2020 rolls around, nobody can point at him and say, well, you didn't line up with the rest of us. That's what I think about him. He is weak and ineffectual, just like Reince Priebus, and he will tell you he'll fight And then as soon as someone stands in front of him and says, suck my dick, he'll say, let me get on my knees as fast as I humanly can. So I have no respect at all for Ted Cruz. Now, Mitt Romney is a different case. Mitt Romney is actually an intelligent man who had a really good chance of being president, and unfortunately for him, blew it. He has been incredibly vocal, and he has also said that he's not walking into this meeting going, okay, I'm ready to lie down. He's very, very cautious, and I think he's very, I don't think he thinks that this is going to go well. I think he's probably curious to see what the chode has to say to him. But if Mitt Romney is any kind of a man and has any kind of a backbone, he'll say, thanks for the meeting. I will not be helping you, and will walk out. Because if he does align with them, then he's no better than they are. And he has been claiming all along that he is.
Playing devil's advocate, though, based on several things that he's said, because he's a party guy and wants to kind of take one for the team, so to speak, do you think that maybe in Mitt Romney's mind, if he's offered something like, say, Secretary of State, that's a chance to serve his country and his party, and he might do it more for the party than for the chode? Do you think he will find a way to justify it if he were to accept a position like Secretary of State?
Yeah, they'll always find a way to justify the terrible things that they're doing. We know this. I personally, if you're asking me if I have a choice between Mitt Romney or Jeff Sessions as Secretary of State or Attorney General, I'm choosing Romney. I'm choosing Romney over anybody else that he's put up, because we've seen at least the human side of Mitt Romney in the past. Even if you have fundamental disagreements with the Republican Party's principles, I don't personally believe that Mitt Romney wants to cause the end of society or believes that women are inferior or wants to deport people. I mean, I think that inside of him, because he's a Mormon, there's a good man in there. So fine, if that's his justification, if he's going to try to bring some goodness into there, I still don't think that there's nothing normal about any of this. So for us even having this conversation is somewhat normalizing it, because we're talking about Mitt Romney going to sit and talk with Donald Trump about working in the White House. I mean, it hurts my stomach to say those words out loud. So
yes.
I would hope that I kind of want Mitt Romney to go in there and sit down and listen and kind of be like, somebody, like in The Godfather, when the Turk comes to Corleone and says, I want to do this, I want to sell drugs on the street, and Corleone's like, nah, not having it. Like, I'm hearing you and I understand you, but, I'm just going to have to walk away. It's not my thing. I would love if Mitt Romney did that, if he just got up and walked away and said, best of luck to you, and then did his own thing.
Yeah.
Because I happen to believe now, even for the Republicans, better for you to stand alone and say, I will not normalize what this man is trying to do to our country. I may be a Republican, but I am a human being first. And I think that you have to look into your soul before you look at your party. And you need to be able to look at your children and say, I did something today to save our country, not I did something so that people will be nice to me. And I think...
Let's talk about the good guys. Yeah, let's talk about the good guys here. Elizabeth...
We got some good guys.
Elizabeth Warren... Here we go. Elizabeth Warren tweeted yesterday. She says, it is totally unprecedented for a president-elect of the United States to have to settle fraud lawsuits before taking office. I also tweeted that Trump had no choice but to settle the Trump University lawsuit for the simple reason that if he was deposed under oath, his many crimes would be revealed. That's my opinion. That's what my gut feeling tells me, that if he is under oath and cross-examined in deposition, crimes would be revealed. Let me get your feedback on that. Do you agree?
I agree 100%, especially when one of the charges is racketeering, and that is a federal crime, and that does come with a prison sentence in federal prison, and he knows it. So
yes.
He knew. And you'll also remember that even before the election, he tried to get this trial postponed until after the election, Judge Curiel was not having it. So for him to settle is him saying, I am guilty, and actually there is so much worse in there that I don't want you to know. And anybody who doesn't get that doesn't understand basic human behavior. He is doing everything that he can to make himself look like a good guy. 25 million, that's great. How much did you extort from those people? What did you do to ruin their lives? And this, I mean, and if he doesn't get popped for this, there's still fraud. There's still child